Dead man walking.
Alright, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker, episode number 79 of our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. My name is Alex Dorio, and I want to thank you for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. I am one of your co-hosts, and I am joined here, as always, by my fellow co-host, my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, the Stevie Ray to my Booker T, Mr. Travis White. Travis, after weeks of sitting through The Stalker, sitting through DDP and Chronic and Steven Richards, I cannot tell you how excited I am. I've never been more excited to cover a Booker T match in my entire life.
Well, suckers got to know it's going to be good. Turn up the Harlem Heat here. Get onto some Booker T action. Get out of that doldrums that were Chronic and DDP. Bless their hearts.
You got me, baby.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to add that clip in there. You got me, baby. It'll take about 2 or 3 seconds to get all this stuff. Get in my garb, get in the ring, and we'll get in your old butt. So,
it ain't going to take long, Hennig.
It ain't going to take long for Hennig. So, anyway, that's old Jim from Napster we found back in 99. So, anyway, yeah, man, Stevie Ray, man, how cool would that have been running during this match? With the flapjack, Mr. NWOB team captain himself.
I'm thinking Tony Schiavone's catchphrase.
Yeah.
Hit it with that.
Oh, anyway. Yeah, man. Well, full disclosure, too, I'm a little under the weather right now, so I apologize if I sound more like Barry White than Travis White right now. But anyway, yeah, man, we're ready to do this thing, kind of bringing us out of this dark, damp, dank, horrifying place we've been the last several weeks for this invasion. And
so bad it's got you flustered.
It's got me flustered, it's got me mustard, it's got everything. So we're ready to go here, man.
Well, we are, of course, talking about No Mercy 2001, The Undertaker versus Booker T here in a match that, you know, I've kind of forgotten about. And
me too.
I don't think it jumps out to people as one of the best matches of all time. It kind of gets overshadowed here by a lot of other stuff going on during this time. But, you know, if you look at it on paper, you think about the history of these guys, it's really a pretty cool match. You got two guys that kind of... You know, I don't know if Booker T's, you know, he's not your number one guy you probably think of in WCW, but he's certainly top 5, I would say. But a guy who's there for years and years and a cornerstone of the company, much like Undertaker is with WWF. So it's cool. We've seen them on a few Raws and SmackDowns, have a few matches with each other, but it's cool that they had this match during this time, during the Invasion storyline.
Oh, absolutely, man. And yeah, I mean, you know, looking at this Invasion, you know, take away the top guys like Hall, Nash, Hogan, Goldberg, Sting, Luger. Those guys aren't coming over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, your next two are going to be DDP and Booker. Man, like you said, they're going to be the cornerstones there. You know, if you take all those top major guys away, like absolutely. And they're just, you know, Booker T's been there. He's been through some crappy gimmicks, some good stuff. He's had the WCW Championship 5 times. So, and which we'll be reminded of plenty of times during this build.
Yeah, we will.
So. Yeah, and you know, as we mentioned, Booker T, or excuse me, Mean Mark had his never really got his world championship opportunity at WCW, but yeah, it's really neat to see them cross paths here. And like you said, man, it's kind of a forgotten match, especially on No Mercy. It has a lot of iconic stuff, and it's remembered for other things. But don't sleep on this match. It's good, man. It's fun stuff. It's a different kind of build here, and kind of a breath of fresh air, man.
We'll get to it here. We're going to talk about the build-up to this match here along the way and get to that match and cover its place in The Undertaker's history here. So let's hop in our time-traveling motorcycle, jump on the sidecar, take it all the way back to September of 2001, take it to the night after Unforgiven and the ultimate burial of Chronic at that pay-per-view as The Undertaker laid their careers to rest. Right there in their final ever WWF match. A strange, odd, peculiar spot in our encyclopedic exploration here. And I don't know if plans changed. Surely they did. Surely that there was supposed to be something else going on, because it doesn't seem like the pieces for Undertaker and Booker T fall into place here for a couple weeks. It doesn't seem like that's necessarily where we're going here at first.
Right. I still think it was supposed to be, the Brothers of Destruction versus the Doobie Brothers still, but that definitely got derailed because of that turd of a match we saw last week. And, yeah. Anyway.
Well, we didn't get the Doobie Brothers, but we're going to be taking it to the streets right here. Raw episode 435, September 24th, 2001. The show kicks off with Undertaker, Kane, and Bradshaw versus the Dudley Boys and Test in a 6-man tag. Yeah. How about that,
Texas
baby
Triumvirate.
There you go, right there. Dude,
Texas Triad.
That is 3 dudes I would not like to meet in a dark alleyway, man.
That's 6 dudes I wouldn't want to meet.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, man.
Well, it's a fun little 6-man tag between these 6 hosses, if you will. And Undertaker picks up the win over Devon with the last ride here. It doesn't really lead to anything, but that's what Undertaker's doing on this night. And as far as Booker T goes, he is going to be facing Kurt Angle in a match for the WWF Championship. Or Kurt Angle's the world champion at this time. That's right. I didn't trust my notes, but there they were. They were correct.
He beat Austin and I'm giving it that feel-good moment.
Booker T tapped out to Kurt Angle right there. And so these two guys not really interacting yet, but that's what they're doing. And just another footnote to another man that The Undertaker buried a few months ago. DDP makes his first appearance on this episode of Raw, debuting his motivational speaker gimmick. So just crazy few months that Diamond Dallas Page has had. And this is, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing character that he debuts here. And I'm not so sure that wasn't a bad thing, but
not so fast, my friend. Not so sure that was actually a good thing. So I don't remember if he was supposed to be a heel or a babyface or what. I think they're just still confused with what to do with him.
Right. It turned into a babyface, but I guess I guess it was a heel at first.
It seems like it, but. Well, that's going to bring us to SmackDown 110 on September 27th, 01. And this is, again, I just wrote in my notes what's become a familiar scene. Taker and Kane open up the show in the first match. And that was before I even knew they kicked off Raw, too.
Yeah.
So it seems like they've been kicking off lots of the shows. So I guess it's a good thing, get the crowd up and running. So they're defending their WWE tag titles against Booker T and Test. So somehow that happened since Monday. I guess, they tagged against Test on Monday, and now he's been thrown in with Booker T. So commentary mentions that they did defend their titles this past Sunday, but they never reference Chronic at all. They don't say who they fought him against, who they defended him against.
Wow.
Don't mention any of that stuff with Steven Richards or anything. Just say that they did defend him this past Sunday. So I thought that was noteworthy.
I would love to be a fly on the wall for that backstage interaction that night with those guys. What exactly happened? How did that all go down?
Yeah, I had no idea. So, I'm going to go ahead and call Booker T and Test TNT. So,
there you
Test
go. That's the name, man.
Yeah, T and Test. So, whatever. Test and T. Whatever. We're going to go TNT. So, pretty good match here, honestly, with the bros. And they kind of, offer up a lot of offense for TNT to shine on them. So, you could tell they Taker saw some stuff in Booker and Test and was willing to give them more offense in this tag match than he did DDP in 3 months. So
right.
It's crazy. But they get the double down spot and Taker and Test, with Taker and Test, and then Kane tags in like a house of fire and goes to pin Test after a chokeslam, but then Shane McMahon pulls referee Nick Patrick out and says he got something in his eye, and the referee's helping him. Apparently the referee's a medic now, I guess. So who knew? Then Taker boots Shane and takes him, starts beating him up on the outside, and Booker hits a Harlem sidekick and a scissor kick on Kane. Starts beating up Taker outside and then throws him in, and then Kane and Test battle through the crowd, so they're leaving. So kind of what we saw with DDP and Taker back at that inaugural brawl.
Right.
But Booker T comes in with a kick, 2 count on Taker, and then Nick Patrick gets smashed by Booker T after an Irish whip. So here's your obligatory ref bump. Booker and Taker fall down, and then Shane throws a chair in the ring, and Taker ducks, chokeslams Booker T, and then Shane nails Taker with a chair, and Taker hits a last ride to Shane, so who takes it almost as well as X-Pac and Christian do. He's probably third in line there. Taker turns around to a CTE shot by Booker T, and Nick Patrick just miraculously recovers and gives 3 count. So the Booker T actually pinned the Undertaker for he and Test to win the WWE Tag Team titles. So
wow.
I do not remember that happening.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember them being. If you just said, "Hey, name the WWE Tag Champs," I would never have said TNT were Tag Champs.
Yeah.
I forgot totally. So Paul Heyman congratulates the brothers on behalf of the Alliance, which is kind of just a funny little heel. He's kind of smarmy that. And then backstage we see TNT, Shane, and Nick Patrick leaving in that WWE1 limo, and then later on in the night, though, we're going to get Shane and Test and Booker T come back and interfere in the main event to allow the Alliance to stand tall over Rock and Angle. So didn't involve Taker there, but it does involve his opponent coming up, so I wanted to mention it there. So kind of a lot going on in this episode of SmackDown.
TNT stealing the tag team titles away from from Undertaker and Kane there. I mean, WWF had a huge obsession with Test. Man, they tried him in so many different roles, tried him in so many different areas here. It was getting a huge push seemingly all the time, but it never really clicked, but I don't know. His chemistry with Booker T seemed pretty good for these few weeks.
I remember liking him in this point, though.
Yeah.
I remember, and I really thought he had a good elbow drop for a big guy, and he had a good big boot too, but I have a problem with the big boot, and we'll get to it kind of later on. But
okay.
I do like that move, but I have an issue with it. We'll talk about it as we continue.
Put a pin in that. Come back to it. On Raw 436 on October 1st, 2001. And this, I believe, is actually the first episode of just Raw. They dropped the Raw's War moniker after September 11th and changed all the graphics and everything because didn't think it was appropriate to have war in the name when we were at war. So I believe this is the first episode where it just becomes Raw. Just a little side note here. And our little bit, Travis, where you joke about JR not having access to the internet in Oklahoma?
Yes.
We actually get a little nod to that on this episode of Raw because Paul Heyman, I loved this running gag throughout the episode of the show. Paul Heyman's got a fax machine with him at ringside. A fax machine, ladies and gentlemen, in 2001. All right. And he's getting updates on Stone Cold's whereabouts for tonight. Stone Cold's been MIA for the past couple weeks, and Stone Cold is faxing Paul Heyman, giving him his thoughts. So it's kind of like the anonymous Raw general manager thing. Anytime Heyman gets a fax, he gets up on the announce table and grabs the microphone and reads the fax out. It's hilarious. I wish they had kept this as a gimmick, man. I didn't remember this, but it should have kept going more than 1 week.
Most extreme athlete on the face of the planet today. RV.
Oh, your fax machine's going off again. Now, what is this?
Cover for me, JR. Talk.
Heyman's getting another fax, obviously. This is getting to be a little bit annoying. Paul, I mean, modern communication or not. Oh, for gosh sakes.
Excuse me? May I have your attention for a moment, please? I have received another fax from Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But when he's showing off the fax machine, and JR is like, "What is that thing?" And Heyman says, he explains it to him very condescendingly, since JR probably doesn't have electricity or indoor plumbing in the backwoods of Oklahoma. So you weren't the only one who thought that.
Heyman knows there's no internet out there in Oklahoma. That's hilarious, man. Oh, I forgot that happened. That's awesome. I remember that now. Yeah, I wish that was his gimmick the whole time. That was so good. Or even like now, if he brought it out for the reigning defending Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, he's in the fax
machine.
That'd be so good.
I don't know. He'd probably have like a virtual reality or something. He's always ahead of the game with technology, with a cell phone back in the 80s and fax machine right here. He'd probably have something new.
Like tout.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Why don't we promote our show on tout, man? I think that's what's been missing.
Maybe. Let me get over the hump with our subscribers.
Well, speaking of great gimmicks here, the Hurricane, who we praised last week on the show, he now has the Hurricycle with him. And I only mentioned that because watching it back, I was like, how did Undertaker allow that to happen? Why did he allow another dude on the show to have a motorcycle? Like, gimmick infringement, man.
I know.
But Hurricane's motorcycle had a sidecar.
Like we've always been saying.
We've been saying. Taker needed Kane in the sidecar, Sarah in the sidecar.
Oh, man.
But Hurricane had the Hurricycle with the sidecar. Unbelievable, man.
That'd be like back in the 80s, you'd have Jake the Snake, and then you'd have, like, Pete the Python, and he brings out, like, a bigger snake or, like, a smaller snake. Or, like, he brings out another snake on the same show. Like, you wouldn't do that.
Well, we watched Great American Bash 90, and there were 2 Nature Boys on that show.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Oh, man. We also, on this episode of Raw, we get our first promo from the Tough Enough winner, Maven, a guy who we will talk about in detail here in a couple more weeks on the show. So, a little footnote on that. But as far as Undertaker and Booker T, they're in a 6-man tag. Taker, Kane, and Y2J taking on Booker T, Test, and RVD. And JR is really putting over TNT here. He calls him the most impressive set of tag team champions I've ever seen. A little hyperbolic.
JR is putting over the Alliance?
Said that.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's all I got
nothing else
for
to
that.
say.
Yeah, wow. I mean, because he never puts over anybody. I mean, he buried DDP the whole time. Buried Steve Richards, buried Chronic, buries all the Alliance guys. But I guess
again, man, they
his
love
two
Test.
Out.
They loved Test back then. And it was almost RIP Test in this match, too. Taker dang near breaks his neck and Test's neck because he goes for the last ride and, like, just loses his balance and nearly they stumble back towards the ropes. And Taker, like, they go basically leans back over the top rope and just muscles Test back up into the ring. Nearly both flip out of the ring doing the last ride. It was very, very ugly. But this match kind of breaks down. There's just everybody hitting their moves on each other, running in and out of the ring. And eventually RVD ends up getting the 5-star and the pin on Jericho here to give the Alliance another win. As Undertaker and Kane, man, they're struggling these past few weeks. They are. Defeating Chronic. Man, I guess they're still secondhand high or something because they can't they can't pick up a win.
Not doing so hot. Well, that brings us to SmackDown 111 on October 4th here, and a little bit of hilarity I just want to mention. This has nothing to do with Talking Taker at all, but we get one of those WWF "Please Don't Try This at Home" videos. Immediately after that, there's a graphic for Stacy and Tori bikini contest. I just thought that the timing was kind of funny. It was just like, please don't try this at home. And it's like, boom, coming up next. And it was just kind of funny to me. So
I mean, most people probably shouldn't try that at home.
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, but I just thought it was funny. So anyway, Kane takes on Booker T here in a singles match. And according to Paul Heyman, Booker T requested this match. He's saying he wants to show up, show people who he's serious. He's not anything to be laughed at, and he wants to be taken seriously. So near the end of this match, Kane hits a diving clothesline off the turnbuckle, and then he clotheslines Booker over the top rope and then goes to attack him on the outside. And he rolls Booker back in the ring, and the ref starts checking on Kane. And as he does this, Test comes just out of nowhere with a big boot on Kane and on the outside. And later on, we see a replay, and he comes out of the crowd. But the way they shot it, you had no idea where he came from. But he just comes out of nowhere, big boots Kane, rolls Kane in the ring, and Booker hits a scissor kick and scores a 3 count on Kane. So
wow,
they're getting wins here over the Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah.
So pretty good. Of course, that's how you build it. You get the heat on your heels, and then the babyface is supposed to get their win back later on. So
it's just
it works.
Fascinating to see the just vast difference between how Booker T and DDP are portrayed and booked here. Like, I mean, I love that Booker T is getting such a big push and is getting put in these big roles and getting these big wins, but it's crazy that it's the complete opposite of what we saw with Paige.
I mean, the complete opposite. And I had no idea. Maybe because Booker didn't script everything. Who knows what it is? Who knows the reasons? But
no idea.
They definitely saw a lot more potential in Booker than they did in DDP. So
and
it shows here.
Maybe he's just younger. Just I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, both guys took a pay cut to come over to WWF instead of
Right.
riding out their contracts. They were both, willing and able to do that. So, but maybe they just, I don't know, something happened. So, but you can tell Taker's getting along a little better with Booker here than he is with DDP, just because of the way things are clicking. So, as TNT are double teaming Kane, Taker runs down, gets a good pop here, and he takes it to Booker, and they clear the ring, and the brothers stand tall like we're pretty much used to seeing here the last several months, burying everyone. But I just wrote here that there's a small note. We see DDP with those Regis Philbin white teeth, but I didn't realize that he had debuted on Raw a couple weeks ago. But he's got that. He's asking us, "Have you done your yoga?"
Have you done your yoga today? I'll bet you're feeling pretty damn good about yourself. I know I'm feeling pretty damn good about myself because helping you is a positive thing.
And it's just funny to me. So, but it's just a far cry from that creepy stalker we got, but definitely still not a winner. So,
Does Regis have creepy white teeth?
dude, go back and watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire back in this era, and look at Regis Philbin's teeth. They're like electric blue.
Okay.
They're so white, man. They're out of control. Oh, people online know what I'm talking about. So
I just remember his ties, the millionaire
his ties came out of a
Ties and
box.
shirt.
It matches his shirt. Jason
Fashion
Payne's box.
icon, man.
Yeah. I just want to mention this too. This main event is strange. We get Y2J, The Rock, and Mike Chioda versus the Dudleys and Nick Patrick.
Chioda,
Nice. Yeah, dude.
main event in SmackDown.
He hits the ref's elbow for the win. The Rock makes him do the people's elbow, and there's a reason he's a referee, not a wrestler.
Oh man, I vaguely remember that, but that's wild.
It's funny though, the Y2J and Nick Patrick are still feuding after like 6 or 7 years.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's so good. But anyway, that's that for that SmackDown.
And that's just another only 18 years ago would that happen. Like nowadays the refs don't have names or anything.
Right.
Like much can you imagine a referee being involved in an angle and having a match in 2019? That would never happen. No.
Nope. It happened all the time back then, and it made sense. We knew who the refs were.
The refs had
identities.
characters, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, let's go to Raw 437, October 8th, 2001. TNT are going to defend their tag team titles against the Hardy Boys here. And Booker T is going to be going for the Spinaroonie. That's really getting over here in the WWF. And JR hates it every time he does it. It just disgusts him to no end. And it disgusts Undertaker, too, because he runs in from the crowd and interferes while the ref's distracted, gives Booker T a last ride. And Jeff Hardy hits the Swanton for the win and the Hardy Boys to become WCW Tag Team Champions, because we got to have at least one title change on every episode of Raw or SmackDown. It feels like, man.
Yeah, that title's only lasted like, what, 10 or 11 days around their waist. So.
Oh, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Booker T is livid backstage, and him and Test are just so upset about this. Booker tells Test he's been disrespected the entire time he's been in the WWF. So to fix that, he's going to go after the most respected man in the locker room, The Undertaker, and go and earn himself some respect. So I guess that makes sense.
I thought he's in the Alliance, not the WWF. What's he talking about?
The entire time. Well, I mean, the Alliance is in the WWF. That's the whole problem with everything.
That is exactly. That was your problem that you went on about. But yeah, no. I mean, kudos to him for taking a page out of Page's book and going after the big man, the Undertaker here.
That's right. Yeah.
Big Daddy Dead Man.
That's not the only nickname we're going to hear about here. Stone Cold on this episode of Raw. Also, this is the night where he wins, speaking of title changes, the WWF Championship back from Kurt Angle in just an absolute killer match.
Yeah.
And it's definitely go out of your way to go see this one if you've never seen it. Great TV match, and it's also important because the commissioner of the WWF, William Regal, is going to turn heel and join the Alliance here to help Stone Cold win and become the Alliance commissioner along the way. So that'll play into things here in these last few weeks of this whole invasion angle.
Well, they were doing so well they need a commissioner of their own now, apparently, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
They're planning for the future.
I do remember that match, and I don't remember if you and I were talking on if it was on the show last week or before we start recording, we were just talking about how 2001 is probably Stone Cold's best in-ring year in the WWF.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as these matches he's having with Benoit, Jericho, Triple H, Kurt Angle, like it's just The Rock. It's just, man, this is his best year. And if you hear him talk about this year on his podcast, he doesn't remember a lick of 2001 except for WrestleMania. That's it. It's all he remembers. So,
it's his absolute worst year character-wise.
yeah.
But
Yeah. It's crap.
in ring, you just listed them off. All those awesome matches.
Yeah.
2001, he was on fire.
So good, man. And just taking unnecessary bumps just to even go forth the extra effort to get these matches over. So anyway, enough about him. We'll let the boys on the Bottom Line podcast break that stuff down.
That's right. That's their job.
Exactly.
Hey there, creatures of the night. I'm Mike Prue along with my pal JV, and we are from the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. I'm sure you guys are enjoying Alex and Travis dig up the dead man's past every week here on Talking Taker. If you like this type of format, you may want to check us out. We are the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. We're breaking down his career month by month, just like Travis and Alex do here on Talking Taker. We have covered from his debut in January of 1996 as the Ringmaster, and we are currently heading into 1998. So please take a chance and listen to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. We are available on most platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean. We are also on Twitter at Bottom Line Cast. Thanks, creatures of the night. Especially thanks to your gracious hosts, Alex and Travis. Take her easy.
SmackDown 112 on October 11th, 2001. We get the European champion Hurricane and Mighty Molly coming down to the ring. So Hurricane, he's so funny, man. He's hilarious. But he challenges a mere mortal to come down and challenge him, and Kane answers the challenge here.
I don't know if he qualifies.
I know. Well, the Hurricane calls him Citizen Kane, which is always good. He's like, "What are you doing, Citizen Kane?" So I always love the way Hurricane talks. Shane Helms in general, I just like the way he talks.
That was good.
He's like a modern day Mitch Hedberg, just the way he speaks. I love the way he speaks. So, but he says he thinks that Citizen Kane has made a mistake. He says,
You got a cool costume? You got a cool mask? You're 7 feet tall and you don't fight crime? What's up with that?
it was great, man. He's got a point.
You're
great
right.
Costume, great mask. He's 7 feet tall, but why does he not fight crime?
He's neglecting his civic duty.
Exactly. So what's up with that? But anyway, he then sticks his fist out and says, "Her twin powers activate." So Kane fist bumps him, but then he starts punching him basically. So he kind of psychs him out there, and unfortunately, Hurricane's treated as a joke. But like we mentioned last week, he does actually wind up getting himself completely over, and now he works backstage for the company. But anyway, Kane handles him easily here, and JR is just burying the Hurricane the whole time. But as Kane's about to win, TNT come out and interfere and cause a DQ. So, and just in a repeat from what we've seen the last few weeks, they're beating Kane up. Taker comes out, makes the save, and cleans house, and then they kind of jaw-jack back and forth with Booker and Test, who are leaving up the ramp. So, kind of copy and paste from the last couple weeks, but it's really cool to see him interact with Hurricane because they're going to become tag champs eventually.
There you go, man.
Exactly.
Hurricane was planting the seeds in this moment.
Exactly.
Finally converted him a few years later.
Exactly. So, but in probably the best part of this build-up, we get backstage. Test is just dying laughing hysterically. He's just dying. And Booker's like, "What's up?" And Test, he's like, "I just love what you did on Monday."
What you did on Monday to the Undertaker? Yeah. Was great. Most definitely. You called his bluff. You pulled his punk card and handed it to him. And that No Mercy book, I know you're going to beat him down. Booyah!
Ooh.
Another reference to the punk card. Is that number 3 now?
Yeah. It was a legit thing.
So
Undertaker's got to go
Big
pick
Show.
it up. Yeah, Big Show.
Once was Big Show, once was Taz, I believe, on commentary, and now we got Test. So, thank you, 3 gentlemen, for bringing up the punk card, which again, obviously was a real thing.
That's what they said in the locker room, 100%.
You know they did. They're like, "Ooh, you dropped your punk card," like they did. So, oh man. So, but due to Booker T's, stepping up, Test has been inspired to challenge Kane at No Mercy to a match. So
okay, all right. So
Yep.
I guess, I don't know. It's weird that they didn't have a tag team match, but
I know. I really thought we were building a tag match, but I mean, I'm fine with what we got. But
yeah,
I guess
think
because
the
we had it
singles
on
matches worked out
SmackDown
good. Yeah,
earlier, and we're gonna have it again. So, but it's worked out great. Yeah.
I think they just didn't know what they were doing, and we're just kind of throwing
Right.
stuff together at the last minute. But whatever. So let's take it to the last couple shows here before the pay-per-view. The week of the show, October 15th, 2001 on Raw. This is a weird segment. The main event for No Mercy is going to be Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, and RVD in a three-way. So they're building up this whole storyline with tension in the alliance between RVD and Stone Cold, and RVD's getting over, trying to be more over than Stone Cold. So there's this whole deal in the ring where guys are the alliance are all campaigning to be Stone Cold's tag team partner in a match tonight. It's going to be Stone Cold and a partner of his choosing against Kurt Angle and a partner of his choosing. And everyone in the alliance votes, and Stone Cold reads off the votes. And it turns out that everyone actually voted for RVD, but Stone Cold just lies and says they all voted for Booker T. And so Stone Cold gives RVD a match with The Rock instead, because I guess he has those powers somehow. But anyway,
Well, yeah.
that's all that big mess. But it's going to lead to Stone Cold and Booker T against Kurt Angle and The Undertaker. Tag team match with The Undertaker.
Tag match player.
Teddy Long's two favorite things here. But Kurt Angle doesn't choose Undertaker. Undertaker chooses himself because Angle is talking to Coach, saying he's got a lot of great options for his partner, and Undertaker interrupts him and says, well, if Booker T is Stone Cold's partner, then the decision's already been made, and I'm going to be your partner tonight. And Kurt's like, all right, in that case, Undertaker sounds like a great partner. So later on in the night, Undertaker is sitting and waiting outside Angle's locker room for the match, and Angle pops out wearing a do-rag and sunglasses, trying to look like his partner.
This is where that's from. Yes.
I
Man.
wish he had a scooter with him too.
Yes, dude.
That would have been great.
Dude, I'll never forget this promo ever in my life.
Angle's
It's
like,
so good.
He's like, what's the problem, man?
What? You're an American badass. I'm an Olympic gold medal lass. Stone Cold Booker T together make a horse's ass. I mean, what's the problem? No problem, Kurt. I tell you what. Let's just go to the ring and let's kick some ass. All right. You are going to take that off, right? Well, I wasn't going to, but I'm flexing.
I'll never forget Angle walking out in that do-rag and his sunglasses.
He's like,
He's
What's
perfect.
the problem, man?
Taker wanted to laugh, man.
Oh yeah, he was dying on the inside,
No, he wanted to.
100%.
Oh,
But perhaps
well, I'm about to die on the inside. Go ahead.
even more important than that,
Yes.
I believe we get, unless we missed it earlier, I believe we get the first occurrence here of JR giving Undertaker another iconic nickname. We've heard so many good ones over our 79 episodes, but I believe this is the first time that Jim Ross calls Undertaker Booger Red.
The Undertaker, boy, is asserting himself here very physically. He's marking that turn at Booker T. Booger Red. The Undertaker coming in with that elbow.
Old Booger Red. And I remember back in 2009, I believe I spit my drink out the first time I heard that nickname. Like, what the heck is that?
Oh.
What does that mean? Why is that a nickname?
I thought he had another bout of Bell's palsy when you said it. Like his mouth just slipped or something. I don't know what happened. I thought he slipped or had like a stroke on live TV and just accidentally said something he shouldn't have. I was like, surely he's not calling The Undertaker Booger Red.
That sounds like an insult.
I know. Well, if you don't mind, I dug a little bit and found some
Dug around for the
some
booger?
answers. Yes. I dug for the booger and pulled it out, and it was red. And so, then I had to go to the hospital. But anyway, so I dug around on some old articles from JR's Barbecue in 2012, and there was another article I found. I couldn't find the the site. I actually screenshotted it back in July of last year, and I couldn't. It's on my phone, but I couldn't ever find the actual source. But anyway, on his Jared's Barbecue from 2012, he's doing a little Q&A thing, and he says, somebody asked him, "What's Booger Red?" And Jared said, "It's a name that I unsuccessfully hung on the American BA character." He says, "As I recall, the Undertaker." He says, "Booger Red was the nickname of another redheaded BA from Texas, a former UT linebacker and Hall of Famer, Tommy Nobis." He says, "If you look up booger in the dictionary, it's a Southern expression meaning a frightening apparition, of which the Undertaker certainly is.
What?
Plus, he is naturally redheaded, so I thought the name worked, but others didn't." So all this time, we've been calling boogers in our nose boogers. Apparently, they're just frightening apparitions. Like they're just like nose ghosts or something. I don't know.
Like a boogeyman, I guess.
I
It's
think
like,
is what he's getting at.
There's a little booger over there.
Yeah, I think that's what he's getting at. But meanwhile, William Regal would say booger off or booger off there. So I don't know. Apparently, a booger is a ghostly, frightening apparition. So that must be some Oklahoma, Texas
That's
crap.
gotta be. I have never, ever heard that before.
No. If you're out there listening and you're from Texas, if you call someone a booger, does that mean as a ghost? Do you go to booger houses at Halloween?
Did you think the boogeyman was the booger man?
I'm coming for you, booger man.
Please let us know.
Oh, maybe that's what Brian Pillman was trying to say back in, was that WCW in 96?
Yeah. I respect you, booger man.
I respect you, booger. I'm the booger man, and I'm coming to get you. There's so many things. So, yeah, anyway, Booger Red. Regardless, I don't care if it's Tommy Nobis and if he's a big 270-pound, 6', 7' giant, and he played football. That name does not parallel over to The Undertaker.
No.
This is... Dude, take the she talks to angels. I mean, man who walks with angels. Any of those other names, man, are better than Booger Red. It is an absolute abysmal thing that came out of his mouth, and he tried to get that over it. He says here on his website that others didn't like it. So,
JR's the greatest of all time. He's had so many iconic phrases and, coined so many great terms. So we'll give him a pass on this one because it is the absolute, probably the worst thing we've ever heard him come up with here.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and like you said, to his credit, the Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley was made by his commentary,
yeah, absolutely.
But here, he definitely puts a damper. And again, I think this is why, going back, as we said, like, this era of Taker wasn't our favorite, like, at the time in 2001. Yeah. I think that's another reason why. It's because his name was Booger Red. Like,
he kept trying to get it over.
It's not cool at all. So.
Oh, man. Well, Undertaker and Kurt Angle are taking on Booker T and Stone Cold here, trying to recover from all that. It's a pretty good tag team match. Pretty fun TV main event here. A couple notes on it. Booker hits the scissor kick on Undertaker, and Undertaker sells it by doing a back bump. He doesn't fall on his stomach. He just flips backwards. So that was a little weird.
Wow.
Taker,
I love that. Yeah,
that was funny. Taker gives Booker T a clothesline, and Booker T does a 360 sell on that. That was pretty nice. And have you noticed this? Taker's been doing this new move where I don't really know how to describe it, but he holds hands with a guy, locks hands with him, and then lifts him straight up into the air.
Yeah. I think he did it to Triple H at WrestleMania X7. That was the first time I recall seeing it. So
yeah, he's been doing it a lot
better
lately.
than Triple H. But yeah, he does. Yeah, I always enjoyed that move.
It's a nice little move. Yeah, I think they had it in the
video games. He kind of
does
an arm wrench and then just kind of picks him straight up over his head, and they just kind of post off of him and hold themselves up. It looks really cool though.
Yeah.
It looks like it hurts their arm, but yeah, he did start doing that here, didn't he?
The crowd is really into this match. Taker's being the tag team specialist that he is, playing up the hot tag on the outside, getting fired up. Oh, dude, he gets the hot tag from Angle, and Undertaker leaps over the top rope into the ring to do the House of Fire comeback.
He jumped over the top rope?
Yes.
Oh, my word.
Like he's friggin', I don't know, Robert Gibson jumping
like a
Marty Jannetty or something. I don't know. was awesome.
Oh, like a ghostly apparition.
He goes for the last ride on Booker T, but Test hits a chop block to take him down. Angle makes the save. Test hits a big boot on Angle. Test on Booker, beat up on Taker, but Kane ends up making the save. He fights Test into the crowd. Taker and Booker T fight into the crowd. And then RVD comes in and hits a 5-star frog splash across the ring at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
It was just like a complete half circle around the ring. It was awesome.
I remember that.
He interferes to help Stone Cold get the win here on Kurt Angle. Just pretty good tag team match, selling all 3 of those matches going into the pay-per-view.
Well, you know it's a good tag team match because Undertaker's involved.
Dude, best tag team wrestler of this decade.
Absolutely. Decade of destruction, man. Tag team. Oh, so good. Didn't matter who his partner was.
Nah.
Doesn't matter. If it was over in Japan and it was Scott Hall, or if it was, who was it here? Kurt Angle, or if it was Kane.
Kurt Angle, Kane.
Big Show. Yeah, he doesn't discriminate. He's always going to get the hot tag and be good to go. So, well, that's going to lead us into SmackDown 113. That's the Go Home Show. This is October 18th, 01, the Go Home Show for No Mercy. And I just want to mention as well that Christian joins the Alliance tonight, just because.
Yeah, that's so random.
Because insert, we need
he's a heel.
storylines. Yeah, he's a heel. So yeah, he joins. Just because apparently every heel on the roster is not going to join. Because the only person is not. Well, yeah, that's right. I think
pretty
Xbox.
much.
Xbox the only Xbox and Albert are the only heels that aren't in the Alliance. So, well, in a rematch from 3 weeks ago that I covered at the beginning of this episode, we get Booker T and Test again versus the Brothers of Destruction, but they got no motorcycle entrance here, so I don't know. Anyway, I noted that for some reason. I thought it was notable. I don't know why, but anyway, I just haven't seen it in a long time, I feel like. So, well, the Brothers enter first, and we'll guess how this match starts, and I bet you can.
Do they start fighting outside the ring?
Yes, they do. So,
bingo.
Yep. Anyone that's been paying attention the last, since 2000, when he came back as the Undertaker, that's pretty much how every match has started. So, but it's a pretty good, hard-hitting match. Again, with the tag team specialist, Taker firing up the crowd with a hot tag, and they explode when he gets it, and comes in, sidewalk slam, DDT, choke slam, or tries to choke slam Test, but he thwarts it, and then Kane and Test are brawling outside, and Test hits that Death Valley blow onto Kane out there. Yep. And Booker T gets 2 count, and then Taker chokeslams Booker for a 2 count, and then Test breaks up and chokeslams Test, and then Booker has a chair in the ring, and but as he's running at Taker boots him in the face, and he tries the last ride, but as he's holding Booker up, Test hits a big boot right into Taker's face.
Oof.
And as he does that, Booker just kind of falls straight on top of him, which I think we saw during that. Was that Mania when Triple H hit him in the head with a sledgehammer, and they fell straight on him? Same exact bump here.
Okay.
But except Test boots him right in the face, and then Booker just kind of falls flat right on his chest and pins him just 72 hours before No Mercy. So Booker T's got the win over Taker. But I want to say it's after a big boot, so they're really putting that big boot of Test over here.
Yeah, they were.
As a finisher. So meanwhile, Kane uses it, Albert uses it, Undertaker uses it, all as transition moves, just a regular move in a match. But it's when Test does it, it'll finish you off. So I just don't.
You got a foot of steel, dude.
I guess he does. Steel toe boots or something. I don't know, but
I guess it's some people do super kicks too, but
sure.
Shawn Michaels hits Sweet Chin Music. It's lights out.
Yeah, well, see, back then hardly anybody did it because it was protected, but nowadays everybody does it.
Yeah,
but
you got a good point though.
But it's just a lot of big booting going around. If you were above 6'7", you're big booting everyone.
God. Yeah,
but
yeah.
If you're Test, it gets you the win. But I just want to note here that Booker has pinned Taker at least twice in the last 4 weeks just on SmackDown. So if you're doing your wrestling algorithms, who's going to win on Sunday.
But that's still a big deal for Undertaker to be putting anybody over, even if it's on
Sure.
TV, too. We've
Sure,
seen a lot more of
absolutely.
it in the Biker Taker era than we ever have before,
Right.
but it still matters. That's still a big, big win.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, he's won twice in the last 4 weeks just on SmackDown itself. How many times did DDP win?
Zip. Zilch.
Has Undertaker's
Zero.
wife beaten Booker T yet? No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, Tim. So, and also, I just want to put a bow on this Steven Richards involvement here with the Undertaker. And I just want to let you guys
Must
know
we?
at home that we must. Steven Richards
right.
is still in the alliance because during this whole night they're doing like this RVD appreciation night because of how he helped Austin win on Monday with that epic 5-star frog splash you talked about. And Steven Richards is seen in the background, but no Chronic, no mention of them. But I was worried, man. I was
I
worried
know
my
you
boy
were.
was gone. I was worried he was gone, but he's still there. I don't
Number
think he
one
did
fan.
anything. So,
No.
But anyway, that brings us to No Mercy pay-per-view.
Let's do it. No Mercy 2001, October 21st, from the Savvis Center in St. Louis.
Yeah, it
Missouri?
used to be the Kiel Center. That's the
Oh.
same place that isn't that where Owen Hart died? Kiel Center, I think. In
Yeah, I believe so.
St. Louis. So,
Yeah.
or was that Kansas City?
No, that was Kansas City. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
okay, yeah, but it did used to be the Kiel Center in St. Louis. So yeah, it was called the Savage Center at this time though. So you know how those big buildings get bought out by different corporate
Right.
sponsors every couple of years. But yeah, we have covered it on the show back in late '90s. It was Kiel Center, but yeah,
sure.
here it's called the Savage Center, St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember this
Home with
match
Nelly.
specifically. You can find him
Sorry.
there in St. Louis.
St. Lunatics.
That's right. Man, 2001. Speaking of 2001, dude, I remember I've seen this pay-per-view before because I
Yeah.
ordered a copy of it off eBay back in the day, not on DVD, but on a video CD for like
Ooh.
$5 because it was way cheaper than buying a DVD. And I was just real into buying wrestling videos, VHS, DVDs on eBay at that
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
I don't know why or how I even had the money to do that, but it was like ordered a bunch of random stuff and got this, and it was just, I thought video CD was like a DVD, but it was basically, it was so awful quality. It was like a CD-ROM quality. It was terrible.
You had to
I
watch
couldn't
it on
do
your computer, didn't you?
I was able
Or
to
could
watch
you
it on
watch
my
on
DVD
DVD
player,
player?
but
Okay.
it was just so low quality. I don't know. I think it was from like India or something.
Oh, I'm sure it's Haji copy, whatever they call them. Yeah, it's
It was so
terrible.
so bad. But that's
Well-
my memories of this pay-per-view.
Well, I'll tell you why you ordered wrestling videos on eBay. Because you could.
You
Before
could.
that, we couldn't get them, man. Like,
Right.
and, we could. Dude, this is where I got all my Best of Chris Benoit tapes and my Super J Cup. I got a lot of New Japan stuff back then. The Super J Cup 94, 96, I had those on tape. And, man, we were tape trading and, getting these video CDs and these bootleg copies of DVDs. Because this was the time, again, ladies and gentlemen, DVDs weren't prominent. They were coming into their own, but people still made VHSs and still watched VHSs. So at this time, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I had a guy. I don't know if it was through eBay or through like some wrestling newsletter or something, but I had a guy that would make me custom tapes.
Yes, I
Like,
remember
got
that,
2 or 3
yeah.
of the, and he'd like send me. I just told him which matches I wanted,
Yep.
and he would make me custom tapes. It's so weird thinking back on it. Like I
I
was
know.
15 years old getting custom wrestling tapes made by. I don't even know where this guy was from.
Buffalo
but,
Bob.
But I sent him like $20, and
Exactly.
this was matches I'd never seen before, like Sting and Ric Flair, Clash of the Champions, like old random Raw matches. That because you couldn't go back and
There
see
was
any
no
of that
network.
stuff. No, they never. If you missed it, it was gone unless it was on a pay-per-view, and you could go back and watch those. But a lot of this other stuff you couldn't see over and over again. So
Exactly.
yeah, man, it's different times.
Exactly. And speaking of the signs of the times, and a perfect example of what we just discussed last week, where we said there are great songs and there are great wrestling songs.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Click Click Boom by Saliva is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a good song.
Mm-hmm.
It is an absolutely great wrestling song.
It's perfect.
It goes so well with all these video packages. It is exactly what we talked about last week, man. It's a perfect wrestling song. It sucks to the modern, like the human ear, but it's so good at wrestling.
I feel like this song was the theme for about a dozen pay-per-views. I don't know.
Probably
It
was.
feels like they've used it over and over again. I don't know. Maybe it
They
just
might use
sounds
it at
like all these
WrestleMania
other
this year.
ones. Yeah, might as well.
Well, I think it's because at this point in rock and roll, or rock, whatever we call it, all these bands sound the same anyway. Like, all their songs sound the same. You can just insert different, band name here, but all their songs sound the same. So,
Very
but
true.
yeah, good stuff, man. I remember this show because we finally got like Edge and Christian in a ladder match and being like, "Oh, that's gonna be awesome!" And finally get to see Rock and Jericho, man, like go 1-on-1. I mean, because think about it, Jericho's been there since '99, and they've never had like, he interrupted him in Chicago, but after that, they really didn't do anything together. So
Yeah, this was Jericho getting pushed to the top.
Yeah,
Really trying to
and,
establish him in that main event role.
exactly, and he's gonna start going toward a little heelish way here,
Yep.
in his, for the first time in a long time, and then obviously that triple threat main event, and was epic, and I remember I remember liking this match. It just didn't stand out to me, but going back and watching it here, as we'll cover in a minute, this is good stuff, man. This is fun.
Yeah,
stuff.
I enjoyed Test and Kane on this show. I thought they had a
Yeah.
pretty good little match with each other.
They
And
did.
Good chemistry. Test picks up the win over Kane and gets a little help from Nick Patrick. I forgot how much Nick Patrick did the heel stuff in WWF. I didn't remember that
so
going
much,
back and
yeah.
watching this. But yeah, he lets Test use the ring bell on Kane and doesn't disqualify him, which is actually going to play in to our match that we're going to cover. An important note. But best part is that after Kane loses, he gives Nick Patrick 2 choke slams and a giant power bomb afterward to get his heat back, and Nick Patrick takes a great bump, dude.
Oh yeah, well, it just continues on from what we talked about. I think it was on last week's episode where Kane kept giving him choke slams.
That's
and
right.
Stuff. That's all the matches. You think they're building toward them feuding Nick Patrick and Kane. So, oh man. Well, like you said, that match happened in Test being Kane, and right before our match here with Booker T and Undertaker, we see Booker T, Test, and Shane backstage basically having a little pep rally, and Shane's pumping him up and saying that Taker hasn't been the 5-time Doso champion, but he only says 5-time 3 times. He's like, he hasn't been the 5-time Doso champion. I'm like, dude, you only had 2 more to go. Yeah, like you had 2 more to go. It's like you're over halfway there, man. Like, so anyway, but he says, when Booker beats Taker, the whole alliance will have his RESPECT. So I'm not sure why he had to spell it, but he did. I don't know if Aretha Franklin was there that night or
You
what.
gotta spell it. You always gotta spell it.
I guess, man. But Taker, he also says Taker does not have the power of the Spinneroonie.
Spinneroonie.
Yeah, that's Spinneroonie. And Shane's like, oh
Spinneroonie.
yeah, Spinneroonie.
And The Undertaker does not have a move that electrifies millions. The Spinneroonie.
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 Tonight, the Undertaker will be one dead sucker walking. Now, can you dig that?
That's how you say it in Canada.
No, absolutely, eh? So, and then Booker says, tonight the Undertaker will be one dead sucker walking. So, anyway, yeah, that didn't catch on, but anyway.
A lot of this stuff didn't catch on, but here we go.
Spinneroonie. It's catching on with me now.
It is right now, absolutely. Booker T and Undertaker here, middle of the card here on this pay-per-view, and Booker T's coming out first. There's a nice little "This is your last ride, Booker" sign in the crowd, and JR notes that we've got a battle of the Texans here because both these guys call Houston their home. A nice little note.
Yep.
And Undertaker's going to roll out on his hog for the first time. And I guess I hadn't seen it on Raw, but I guess he had on SmackDown a couple times, but hadn't had it much.
Yeah, he hadn't had.
lately.
He's been using it very sparingly.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But he's got it
Gas
for the pay-per-view
prices might be
here.
going up.
Maybe so. Maybe they were.
Maybe he had to beat up Hurricane and borrow his. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe he
that was
stole
the
it
deal.
back from him.
Yeah. Well, I did want to note here that he does get that double pop again, like we mentioned several times. You know, he hears music, the crowd pops, but then he appears on the motorcycle, and then they get that extra loud, louder sustained pop. It's neat to see that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's why he was holding back on the motorcycle, because he knew he'd get double pop. Who knows?
Maybe so.
But JR and Heyman on commentary, and JR tells us that he's like, Taker's down to 295 now. And I remember last month he said he was down from 325 to 305. So
right.
I don't know. I think he's doing DDP yoga.
Oh, could be.
Sorry I buried you, bro. Well, I'm just DDP yoga to get. There's no way he's down 30 pounds in 6 weeks.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Exactly. But anyway, he's just JR, man, stretching these truths here.
Well, in a rare move here, we got Booker T, who's going to bring the fight to Undertaker on the outside.
Yes.
He meets him on the aisleway and starts duking it out with him out there. And these two brawl around ringside for a few minutes before Undertaker tosses Booker T in the ring, and the bell officially rings, and Taker immediately gets a big boot for a 2 count here as soon as the bell rings.
Right, so is his big boot less effective than Tess?
Obviously,
I guess?
yeah.
Apparently it is. So, but it is neat, though, to hear JR actually put a WCW wrestler over. You know, like we mentioned it a little earlier, but he really does put Booker over. And obviously Heyman does too, and Heyman he has been putting over Taker, the whole time. But JR gives us a little October history. He says, in 2000, Booker T started his third reign as WCW champ, and in 1996, I think it was, Taker won the first Buried Alive match. 96 or 97?
96.
96 yeah. So he says, that's their October history here between these two. So JR is always good for his research.
Nice research, yeah.
Got to use that fax machine to get it, but he definitely got his research done. So
maybe he went to the library or something.
He could have. Have.
These two guys are gonna just feel each other out here for a little bit. Said Taker gets a 2 count real quick. Booker's gonna fight back, hit his little flying fist move that he does for a 2 count. They fight back into the corner, whip each other back and forth into the corner, and Taker does that little arm lift maneuver, whatever you want to call it, that we talked about a little while ago. Shows that off and gets a big pop from the crowd. The crowd is into that move. It's starting to get over. And then Taker continues to work the arm over, does a short arm scissors, and then goes for old school too.
Yeah, goes old school, and then after that he clotheslines him and gets a 2 count, and then Booker T powders to the outside, like a good heel would, and goes out there, and Taker comes out after him, and of course the heel turns the tides here and throws Taker into the stairs. And it's weird, though, because Heyman says at this point, he's like, I think Booker T actually has the advantage of strength over the Undertaker here. So I don't agree with that, but he is definitely. I forget how jacked Booker T was.
Man. He looked good.
Some
really
scoliosis, man, back then. He was looking right. So he's a big dude, too, man.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
He does not look like. He holds his own in there against Undertaker. Yeah. He looks like he belongs in there.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys don't.
Yeah. Well, this is the part where he kicks Taker in the chest, and he goes and grabs the ring bell, but he tries to use it against Undertaker, but Tim White, the referee, grabs it from him. So, a little callback to that Test and Kane match earlier.
Got a WCW guy trying to cheat, and the WWF referee is stopping him. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Really cool that plays in the two brothers' matches. Those two guys, they parallel with each other. Really good storytelling there. Pretty neat. Don't usually see little Easter eggs like that, so I appreciated that.
Absolutely.
Taker recovers. He clotheslines Booker T into the front row, and they fight in the crowd for a second before.
But why is Tim White not counting at this point, though?
See, that doesn't make any sense.
That drives me nuts. Ugh. Because then they get back ringside, and Taker gives him a big boot, and now Tim White decides to count again. I'm like, dude, give us some reason. Like, you and I both talked about how it's a pet peeve of ours, like, just when the rules come into play when they don't. Like, I understand it's a Taker match. He's going to go to the outside. Like,
yeah.
I get it. But do something. Have some reason.
Only
for
when
not
it's
counting
convenient.
the 10 count. Yeah.
Well, they're going to get back in the ring eventually here, and Booker's going to hit a beautiful missile drop kick on Undertaker. Man, I forgot what a great missile drop kick Booker T has. One of his best moves.
So good.
Oh, man. It was awesome.
I always loved his missile drop kicks. I thought, and he's such a big dude to do one, too, man.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Always one of my favorites on WCW. Actually, my favorite missile dropkick in WCW would have been Booker T's. So, carries over here in the WWFs.
Heyman is a big fan of Booker T too here because he calls Booker the Barry Bonds of WCW, and I don't really know why. I guess because they're both black. I don't really know what the comparison is supposed to be. Maybe saying he takes steroids. I don't know.
Maybe saying he cheats to win. Oh yeah.
I don't know what he was going for there.
I'm not sure. Well, does that mean? Doesn't McGuire have red hair? So does Taker. There you go.
Let's go with that.
Let's go with that. About 4 years removed from that, though. But
why not?
So why not? Oh, anyway, they're both named Mark.
They both named Mark.
Booger Red. But Heyman does also remind us that Booker has beaten Taker 2 times already, which, again, I think they were both on SmackDown I covered. So, anyway, we got some soup bones to Taker. To Booker. He's eating some soup bones from Taker's feeding him. And then Booker T hits a back heel kick or some crazy kick that I don't know what Tony Schiavone would call it. But anyway, what is Tony Schiavone said? Back round front kick or something.
Full arm dragon twist?
Full arm dragon twist, back round front kick. So anyway, Booker gets a 2 count and then hits a sidewalk slam, which I just wrote, man, they looked real impressive. Like he just picked up Taker with ease and like did a sidewalk slam on him. And again, he's a big dude. Like he's a big guy.
Booker looked like he belonged, man, in WWF, and that's why he's one of the few guys that remained and stuck around. He held his own in there.
His hair was so short.
And it was. Oh, my gosh.
How tiny his hair was. And now it's like down to his kneecaps. He hasn't cut it since 2000, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, this is the part where he's going to go to pose for the Spinneroonie.
Spinneroonie. Booker teases it, but Undertaker sits up, gets up. Doesn't sit up. We hadn't seen him do that in a long time. But he gets up, gets a few punches, but Booker T counters out of a power slam, hits a neck breaker on Undertaker for a 2 count. It's real back and forth here, man. But
it is.
Booker T makes the crucial error of going up top for the old flying nothing maneuver as Undertaker's on the ground and Booker T's going for a double axe handle for some reason.
To a prone opponent.
Yeah. And
I'm just going to jump really near to you, and then you get your leg up and keep me in the face. That's the spot we're talking about here.
It's felled many a man before Booker T, and it is his downfall here too. But they go back and forth still. They exchange some punches. Undertaker gets a big boot, but it doesn't
2 count.
Doesn't do the trick, man. He's not Test.
He's not Test. He needs it. Or see, because Test won earlier with that move with Kane, I think. So does that mean that Kane is just not as strong as Booker T? It could be that. Booker T could be stronger than Kane. So many options.
A lot of variables. X over T over Booker versus divided by.
It's a test.
I can't
do
math.
This is a test. This is a test.
Exactly.
Anyway, kick from Booker, Irish whip. Taker hits a running DDT. It's a 2 count. Clotheslines in the opposite corner. This is the part where he's kind of been doing this a lot recently, especially during this invasion here. He throws the guy to the corner, clotheslines him, Irish whips him to the other corner, runs at him, clotheslines him again.
Yep.
And then Taker ducks a clothesline, but then gets hit with the next one that Booker T throws. So I'm not sure what happened there, and then leg drop from Taker and gets a 2 count. And then Taker goes for a Stinger splash, basically. It looks like it.
We hadn't seen that in a while. He
I know.
used to do that all the time.
He did, back in those dead man days. And Booker drops his head on the turnbuckle and then hits a move that I love. Go ahead. Take it from here.
It's the old Harlem sidekick to Undertaker.
Yes.
It's got a great moveset, man.
He does. Which, would they call it the Houston sidekick? Because remember they called it the Houston Hangover instead of the Harlem Hangover.
Did the WWF, they call it that in WWF?
Yeah, like in WCW it was all Harlem,
Right.
Harlem because they were Harlem Heat. But in WWF, I remember when he would do the Harlem Hangover.
Yeah.
Off the top rope, they call it the
The
Houston,
Houston
hangover.
hangover, yeah.
I wonder if they call it the Houston sidekick here.
They probably
or not.
did, yeah.
So.
It knocks Undertaker out of the ring and
Yeah.
gives Booker a chance to hit the old Spinaroonie head there. I guess Undertaker rolled out. He didn't want to be associated with that old Spinaroonie.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. I think
didn't
he was
want to
like,
be anywhere
whatever,
near
dude. I don't want to be in the same frame as this shot. I want to get out of here.
And JR hates it. He vomits all over the Spinaroonie. Can't stand it. And Taker rolls back in. Booker hits the old scissors kick on him and gets a close 2 count, but Undertaker gets his foot on the rope. And just to reiterate a point we talked about a while ago, the announcers, JR and Heyman, they bring up how rare it is to see Undertaker use the rope to get out of a maneuver. And so they point out how devastating the scissors kick must have been because Taker felt like the ropes was the only way to save himself. And usually he would have too much pride for that. So just another great point illustrated here that is lost in today's day and age.
Yep, absolutely. Because, again, that's just perfect psychology. Mm-hmm. That right there put Booker T over, not Undertaker.
Yeah.
Him putting his foot on the rope puts over Booker T. That's great. Like I said, you can tell that Taker cares more about this opponent than he did with DDP. No knock on him at all, but just they had better chemistry, and you can tell he's really more into it. Because, again, that right there puts Booker over as a threat.
He's given him a ton of stuff here in this match, too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the crowd has been kind of so-so into it. They've popped for certain stuff, but they haven't been super into this as much as we've seen other stuff. But, it's been good so far. I've enjoyed the match.
Yeah, it's fun. Taker goes for a choke slam, and he gets thwarted once again. And then Booker, I think he just kind of shoves him or throws him toward the turnbuckle and starts hitting the 10 punches in the corner.
He snuck in a little Death Valley shot to get him in the corner.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. Yeah, Death Valley shot, gets him in the corner, hits the 10 punches, and I don't remember what number he gets to, 8 or 9 or something, and then he kind of poses for the crowd for that last one. And, of course, in a move that we saw Taker do to Big Show, Taker's going to pick him up for the last ride and nail him with it. That's going to give him the 1, 2, 3. Old Booger Red wins it here at 13 minutes and 12 seconds. Booger Red over Booker T.
That's right. The Booger Man and the Booker Man.
Exactly.
So, aside from the inaugural Brawl match, Undertaker is 3-0 against the Alliance here on pay-per-view. He has been dominant against them.
Yeah. Yep.
The win over Booker T, and it's a decent match here, dude. Booker T really holds his own here against Undertaker. He looks like he belongs, like I've said a few times, and it's a fun little match. It's not either man's best match, but
no.
I think especially given what we've watched over the past couple months with Undertaker, this was a great change of pace.
Yeah, it was. It's nothing spectacular, but it's fun. It's just a solid match. You're not going to be offended by it. You're not going to be disappointed by it. It's not going to, blow your wig back, but it's definitely not a stinker. So
no, perfectly acceptable. Doesn't steal the show or anything, but it does its purpose. And both guys look stronger coming out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Booker looks strong even in this loss because. Taker had to resort to using the ropes and stuff, and Taker really sells exhaustion after the match too to kind of help put Booker over as well. Taker looks like he's been through a war, which again, that little bit of psychology right there and storytelling goes a long way to put over your opponent and to put over the match you just had. So it's called selling, and it works.
It does. It does. And Booker T, he's the heel, and he loses. Basically, he causes his own loss because he gets too cocky and he taunts. And he could have beaten Undertaker, but his pride gets in the way of him and is wanting to taunt and get the glory there. And so Undertaker's able to get the win. And so, it leaves Booker T open there. Still, he doesn't lose too much off of it. So, good showing for both of those guys here. A nice little change of pace from what we've been talking about as we kind of limp towards the conclusion here of this whole alliance crap, as Vince McMahon would say the next night on Raw.
I guess I'll be covering that.
He's tired of this alliance crap.
That was a shoot comment.
Yes, he is. We all are. So we're finally gonna lay it all to rest next week here, man. It feels like it's flown by. Except
I know
it's kind of dragged. We've talked about some of this stuff.
Yeah. And you had a good idea, ladies and gentlemen. I think next week we're going to do a watch along for that match. So, with that Survivor Series match.
That's right. We're going to cover the final brawl. We covered the inaugural brawl. We'll cover the final fight of the WWF versus EC-WCW feud with The Undertaker joining up with Kane, Big Show, Chris Jericho, and The Rock to take on Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, Booker T, and Rob Van Dam in a big old 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match for the company. Huge main event right there to close it all out.
The fate of the company.
That's right.
Oh, man.
So we'll
How
cover...
many guys on Taker's... Well, never mind. I'll save that comment for next week. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right.
A little piece of trivia there. I don't want to spoil it.
All right. Let's do it. But before we get there, of course, we want to hear your thoughts on this match, on No Mercy 2001. You can hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to let us know what you thought of all of this stuff. And we love getting feedback from you guys. We actually got quite a bit of feedback from you on this match already.
Surprising.
The Turk, Randy Turco, at Pokey's Little Dog on Twitter was, the man of a million house shows. He was that one.
Dude, I called it last week, man. I called it.
He was that one last week. He's that one this week. Going up, got to see, let's see what's on this one. Undertaker MIA on this house show.
Yep.
But got to see a Kurt Angle Stone Cold Steve Austin match here. A Christian Edge against each other. Chris Jericho and Lance Storm. Ooh, the Thrill Seekers. Against each other. But crazier than anything, Turco got to see a dark match with Brock Lesnar against Who Better Than Canyon. And I guess Lesnar was on this night. He beat Canyon here in a dark match.
He won with a... Yeah, I think he won with a shooting star on Canyon, so...
It says Fisherman Suplex on here. But I guess he did... Yeah, he did say he did the shooting star.
He hit it, so yeah.
Well,
crazy. Who better than Canyon? The Beast, I guess. So.
And
how crazy is that?
You got to see Ivory's thong, apparently, on this show, too. So that's exciting.
Isn't it great that he made a note of that? Like, that was notable to Randy. Didn't make a note. Well, anyway, I just love that I predicted it last week that he was at that show, and immediately, like a day later, we used to put it online that he was there. So that's great. But we also got some good interaction for some other folks too, man. So tell us about those folks.
At Trey Over History, Trey tells us
Trey Dog.
He remembered Booker T hitting those glorious missile drop kicks, beautiful moves right there. And then Paul Heyman calling him the Barry Bonds of WCW.
Yep, yeah.
That's right. Trey said he watched this show about 100 times on VHS back in the day and remembers that, the finish. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's what we did back then. We just watched the same shows over and over again. He's right. And old J-Bags, Jeremy J. Bagley on Twitter, said that I think people forget how big of a man Booker T was and how crazy athletic. And we mentioned that too, man. He was just... I think, even though he's a Hall of Famer and a legend, I still think he's underrated, dude. I forget about how awesome he was.
I agree. I agree.
Jeremy noted that he doesn't remember too many times where Taker reversed the punches in the corner into the last right and actually looked good, and I didn't hear either. It was a little sloppy here.
Well, I wonder if it's because that one with Tess didn't go over so well. You know, like when he picks these big dudes up for last ride, that's it's not just a normal power bomb. You know, it's different. So
yeah, I
wonder if that's why. You know, because Booker's kind of long and lanky, and he's a tall guy, so. That may be why he chose to do it that way. But you're right, J-Bags. He just does not ever look good out of the corner.
No,
it's own little guy.
It's a cool idea, but it's sloppy in execution a lot of the time. But huge thanks to Jeremy for picking up a Talking Taker I'm a Biker Taker guy tank top recently. We thank you so much for supporting us and doing that. And he's gonna do his best to get a picture with the man Undertaker with that shirt. That's his. He wants to do that. So
whoa!
If you pull that off, Jeremy, oh man, that would be incredible.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Well, speaking of the Undertaker and social media, why don't you help fill some people in on some scuttlebutt?
Well, I mean, the talk of the town, it is WrestleMania season. We still don't know if Undertaker is going to be involved in WrestleMania 35. I can't imagine that he won't be. He's been so active over the past year. Active for him at least. I just gotta feel like he's going to be involved in WrestleMania 35. But all the scuttlebutt on the internet has been about his social media. Undertaker's joined Twitter and Instagram and is posting on there. But I don't know. I guess it was Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, broke the story or something. Broke the story, quote unquote, that Undertaker had removed WWE mentions from his Instagram page and was now taking bookings and replaced it with this booking email. And I just want to set the record straight. We're not the authority on this at all, but you and we've been following his social media pretty closely ever since he joined social media. And I guess I can't confirm this 100%, but I am, pretty sure that in following all this, Undertaker's never had any WWE mentions or links on any of his social media. It's just been his social media, and he's always had the booking email on there because I've nearly already written it on there a few times. I haven't worked up the guts to send one to him here to reach out to him to get him on the show, but it's always been on. We've noticed it and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, should we do it? Should we do it? Should we reach out to him? And we definitely will at some point. And maybe we just need to invite him on the show to clarify this. I mean, we've got a forum here, Undertaker. If you need a place to just set the record straight, the invitation is out there. We will provide the barbecue if you want to join us.
We'll come to Schmitz.
That's right. We'll come to Schmitz. All we ask is a 6-hour podcast talking about your entire career exclusively with us. That's all we ask. And that's it.
We'll sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. You won't discuss it with anybody else until it airs. So, yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, seriously, he's never had WCW or WWE crap on his link because he's not a mark. And B, he's the Undertaker. He is a mark. He is Mark.
He's the Mark.
But he's not. Yeah, he's. Ooh, there you go. I'm not a Mark. I'm the Mark. That'd be a cool shirt. He comes back. I'm not a Mark. I'm the Mark. That's great. Oh, maybe we should do that. Anyway, don't tell anybody. We might do that. Anyway, yeah, we just want to set the record straight there. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's a part timer. He's like. It's like Goldust takes bookings outside WWE. Yeah. Jerry Lawler does. A lot of these older guys do it, so it's not crazy for him to be doing it. So don't get afraid. Undertaker's not joining AEW anytime
soon. No. If he didn't go to WCW and the Monday Night War, he's not going to AEW. I'm sorry. And he definitely ain't going back over to New Japan to wrestle with Scott Hall as his tag team partner either.
And I just cannot imagine, we're his biggest fans and biggest supporters, but we call it as we see it on here. I can't imagine that last Saudi match is going to be Undertaker's last match. I just don't think he wants to go out that way with that type of match. If
the Roman Reigns match wasn't his last match, Super SmackDown Under ain't going to be his last match.
No.
Or whatever. Saudi, whatever.
Crown Jewel.
Crown, Royal, whatever it's called.
You need Crown Royal to get through that one. But we'll get there eventually as we keep rolling onto the last ride. We'll cover that one, folks. We will get there sooner, later than sooner, but we'll get there eventually. We appreciate you for joining us and supporting us and following along the way. If you want to look awesome like Jeremy Bagley or like some of you other folks out there, pick up a Talking Taker t-shirt. We got a couple different designs and maybe a couple new ones here in the next few weeks. We might get a few new ones out, and at least one new one here as we go into WrestleMania season. Go over to tpublic.com to pick up a shirt, a sticker, a mug, a hoodie, any of that stuff, and support the show monetarily if you can. But the best way to support us is just to share the podcast with your friends, let people know you're listening to it. Shout out to @TheDailySmark for sharing our podcast and putting the link to it up on their site. Shout out to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, who always plugs us on there, and everyone out there who retweets and shares and interacts with us on all the social media pages. We love it. We enjoy it. We appreciate all the support, and we couldn't do it without you guys. And we love doing it with you guys. You guys are a part of the show, and we love having you along this journey to the last ride.
Absolutely, and we'd be remiss not to mention the passing of Pedro Morales. We'll never cover him on this on Talking Taker, but he is a wrestling legend. He is, from what I can tell, the very first ever what's it called, like Triple Crown champion. Yeah, Triple Crown. He held the WWF title, the Intercontinental and Tag Team title. So very first one of those. I think he held the WWF title for like 1,200 days or something too. So
he is
long time
in the top 4,
top 5 or
top
4,
four,
yeah.
top 5 all-time WWF champions, which is crazy because he never gets talked about, man.
Right, I know.
Just, you never hear that name mentioned. But I remember when I was little reading his name as the first Triple Crown champion, and I still have not seen a ton of his work, but
right.
I always remember reading about him, and R.I.P. to a legend for sure. Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I think he retired before Taker even got started, so he retired in like 87 or something, I think. So they'll never cross paths, but anyway, just definitely sad to lose someone in the wrestling world. But anyway, rest in peace, as we say here on Talking Taker. And if you were there, ladies and gentlemen, at the Savage Center in St. Louis, Missouri, on this night at No Mercy, let us know what you thought about the whole show, but specifically about this match, about Booker T, about this kind of a coming out party here for him. He's already battled The Rock on pay-per-view, but this is the real test. You battle Taker. So, and he held his own and even in a loss, got put over. So, good for him. Tell us what you remember about that. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.
You got me, baby. It don't take me about 2 or 3 minutes to get out of this stuff, get into my garb, and I'm going to get in the ring, and I'm going to get in your butt. It ain't going to take long, Hennig.